Welcome back, guys. In this video we are going to work on the rest of the pages like this product page and the user pages. So let's get started. But before I do that, as you have seen, we already finished the set products page where an admin can set all the products. So let's go back to the code. One thing you might have noticed that my set product is sitting at the root directory. So what I'm going to do, let me go to the command prompt window. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to create two different directories here. Okay, so let's cd into src and then cd into app, and I'm going to create two directories, mkdir admin, because I want to keep all the admin components inside the admin directory. Second directory I want to create is user. Perfect. So now let's take this set product and move this under admin. Move. Okay, when you do that, I'm pretty sure it's going to break a couple of things here. So app.module, this one, because it doesn't exist at this level anymore, so I have to create an admin front slash. Hopefully that will fix that problem. Perfect. And the second place is app.routing.module. Here again I have to fix the path. Perfect. Okay, now let's go back and create the new components here. Let me save this. Okay, so these are the different components I'm going to create. Under admin, I need 5 different pages. One is admin tab, and I'll tell you in a minute what admin tab is. Um, Other one is admin orders, where admin is going to see all the orders and the cards. Admin can also see all the cards items for all the users, and admin users. That means admin can see all the users who are using their app. Now another set of components for the user, where user will be able to see orders, cards, user, product, and login. So right now, if you don't understand that, don't worry about that, because we are going to tackle one by one, and then you will get through this one. Okay, so when we are doing that, let's go to cd into admin. Okay, and now here I want you to go and create this component. Okay, so I know it's going to take a few minutes, so I'm going to pause this video recording here. Now all my components are generated, as you can see. Looks like I still have a problem. So let's go set product.component.ts, and let's fix this problem first. So Control J. Okay, because I moved this into a separate directory, so I think it needs to go to one parent, one level up. Hopefully this will fix that problem. Let me save this. Perfect. Okay. Now next thing is, let's go, because you see what I intended to do, I want to make it all the pages inside a tab like these ones. Okay, so let's go quickly, go to material.angular.io. Let's go to get started components, and let's pick tabs. This is going to be a basic tab. Let's take the first examples. Perfect. Code. I'm going to copy this code here. Okay, now let's go to admin tab.component.html, and what I'm going to do here, get rid of all this, paste it here. I'm going to call it a say users, products, cards, and orders. Okay, so in product, as you can see, let's go to the set product.component.html. Here, because this thing is going to be inside that, so I'm going to get rid of this, save this here, and let's quickly see what this set product.component.ts is. Okay, so what I want to do here, let's include this header at the top of this one. Okay, and instead of set product, I'm going to call it a admin, and let's keep this as a settings only. Okay, now let's go back to set product.component.ts one more time. I'm going to copy this selector. Okay, now let's go to the admin tab, and where the products, what I want to do here. Perfect. So what I did, I just included that entire component inside the tab. Okay, now same thing I want to do for users. So let's go to the users, Okay, it's called admin users. Perfect. Okay, cards. Orders. I believe it's called admin orders, but let's check this anyway. Perfect. Let me save this. Now let me close all this. Okay. Now I need to include this link to my headers.html. So let's go to the headers.html component.html. So first of all, if I go back to my app, okay, it's not serving yet. Okay, so I had like one extra settings column here. I'm going to get rid of this one, and here I used to call it set product, but I want to say this time I want this to go to admin page. So I'll just say admin, but right now, as you know, admin doesn't even exist yet. So let's go to app.routing.module here. Okay, and here, so I'm going to so instead of set product, what I want to do here, admin, I want to route this to admin tab. So instead of set product, I will say maybe I don't even need this. Okay, so let's go to, instead of set product, I will say admin tab, and here I have admin tab, and I'm going to call it a admin tab component. Perfect. I'm going to copy this here, paste it here, and I'm going to rename this admin. Perfect. Now I think I'm done. Okay. Now let's go to the settings. So whatever I did for admin, let's quickly do it for the settings page as well. So settings page again is here. Okay. Now what I want to do, I want to copy this over again. Instead of this page. Okay. So for the user, so I want to call it a, say, in info, because this is where is going to, user is going to update their address, name and things like that. Second thing is, users should be able to see their cart items. Okay. Third thing is, users should be able to see their orders. I think that's pretty much it. That's all. Users should be able to see that. Now cards, okay, oops, okay, now info is wrong, so let's go to the info user. I think it's called user. Perfect. So I think that's pretty much it. So now if I say, okay, so now once I browse to my admin page, see all the tabs are working, and the entire product component, as you can see, it shows up into inside that product tab. So one thing, okay, I think this link is not working. So let's go to the header.html, and here I'm going to copy this router link, and I'm going to put this link on the account box here. Space this one, and it should go to settings. Perfect. Okay. Now let's go start working on our product page. So right now our product page is blank. It there's nothing to show up right now anywhere here. So let's go to the product.component.html. This is a blank page. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of all this. Let me put a header page at the top. I just copied it from the my admin page. Let me change the page title. So it's going to be the shop, and the icon title is going to be shopping cart. Okay, next thing I want to do here, I want to include a mat card here. Now inside this mat card, so let me show you. It's easier when you have the design open. So let me just quickly go and see our app, have a quick look. Shopping. Okay, so in our shopping page, this is the product page. So I want to have a search box here where user can search the product, and then the product will display here. The product listing will display here, and if I click on the product, it will show the product details within a small icon, say where the user can add the items to the cart, and then add to the cart. Once it adds to the cart, it resets the cart and it shows you a message that shopping cart is updated, and at the same time this number changes. Okay, so let's go back and build this thing. So in our mat card, I want to put this in a mat card action. Okay, so I'm going to put a mat card action, and then I'm going to put a mat card content. So inside that mat card actions, let me create that search form. So basically it's going to be a very simple search form. Let me format this. Oh no, let's do this thing. So in mat card content, I want to, because there are two different views. One is the listing view, other is the detail view. So I'm going to put an ng if, and I say toggle else show product detail. So let's go and let's go to the product.component.ts and define what toggle is. So toggle is a Boolean field. Okay, right now I'll just set it to true. So if the toggle is true, that means this piece will show up. If not, then show the product details. So let me create an ng template here, which will have the show product details. So very simple. Now let's go put the search form inside this mat card action. So again, as you see, it's a very simple form. Search form equals to ng form, and there is only one field where user can click put anything on the search field, and there will be a search all button, clear all button. So suppose if you want to just get rid of the text, all you need to do, click on this one, it will get rid of it, will reset the form. And then there is on the search icon, I'm going to write a function called get filter data, which is going to take this value from the search text box and pass it and go to the server. Perfect. So my search form looks good. Now let's start again. I'll go back once I start working on the TS file, I'll take care of this this method. But first, just let's work on our HTML. Format this. Let me go back and work on the product details. So again, as you can see, this is the listing right now. There is no details yet. So in listing, I want to display the category name, just category, subcategory, category name. I don't want to display entire thing here. So let me put this thing. Let me put a mat list item here. So again, if you go to the material.angular.io, go to the get started components, and let's pick a listing item here. List. So this is going to be a simple list like this. So I'm just going to copy paste this code, mat list. That's it. So that's exactly what I did. So I copied the mat list, and inside this mat list I'm doing an ng form. So where is saying item of members, and show me all the category and subcategory. It's a very simple for loop here. So again, if you don't know what members is, we are going to define that. Members is where actually the entire set of products will come into that one. So we'll once we start coding on the TypeScript file, you will understand what this members is. Next thing is show details. So if I click on this item here, where did it go? This one. Okay, so it's going to call a function called show details, and I'm going to pass this item ID to that show details. So that's exactly what it's doing. Show details item, and the next thing is going to do is going to reset the toggle. So toggle is not equal to toggle. That means I click on the show details, it's going to call this function show details, and then it will go to start showing this ng template. Okay, now let's go build the content from ng template. So on the ng template, please pay attention to this one. Here is going to display the entire detail of the product. So the entire detail is like name, first name, last name, description, tax, price, shipping price, color, whatever you want to have. So in my case, I'm putting like, again, I'm not coding everything right here because I know, like, it depends on your page. So in my page, I have a short name, long name, description, color, size, discount, shipping. So just to save you the time, I just copy pasted the entire thing here. Okay. So again, as you can see, my doc data is not defined yet. But once I design this function, I write this function show details, you will understand how the my doc data is coming from. Okay. Now this is the part it will take care of up to this part. Next thing, I want to show a plus minus button. Actually, again, these are material icons here, where it will allow the numbers to add up. Suppose I want to add one more to the cart, so it's going to, suppose I want to have a counter and it's going to increase or decrease based on this clicks. So as you can see, the moment it becomes 0, the add to cart buttons is disabled. Okay, and it cannot go below 0. Okay, so it's very simple thing. So I'm going to have a matte icon for this, and I'm going to put a counter here, again a matte icon for this, and then a simple button. So let's do this thing, create a break, and then copy this thing here. So as you can see, there's a matte icon for remove, matte icon for add, and then this is simple CSS, and then a spacer, and this is a button for add to cart. That's pretty much it. Now I have written functions here. So one function is count prod. So, and once again, once you go to the TypeScript side, it will be easy. But right now, for now, understand that there is a counter which is displayed, and count. If I click on this one, counter is going to be counter -1. If I click on this one, counter equals to counter +1. Simple. Add to cart, and once I click on this to add to cart, it's going to do something. So that's pretty much it. One last thing I'm showing here, the image part. So right now I'm just like saying, okay, profile URL is equals to async. So just pretend that there's a URL there. Again, image is a totally separate thing. So once I'm planning to cover the image part, because there's a lot of ask on this one. People want to know how to upload a file, how to handle the file in Firebase or MySQL and those kind of a thing. So I'll create a separate tutorial. So for now, just pretend that there's an image out there and it exists. That's it. So that's pretty much it. Last thing, on this file, I'm going to create and save changes. So suppose what happens if I click on the add to cart, what it's going to do is going to reset this to 0, and the button will be disabled, but I want a message to appear here which says, okay, you know what, your changes are saved. So just like what we did in my last tutorial, set product. So in the moment your product is set, you have to display a nice message that it's been done, please, and then reset the clock, reset the counter here. So that's exactly what it's doing. Save changes. If it's true, then hide this form and then just show shopping cart is, not hide this form, shopping cart, just show the message that shopping cart is updated. That's it. And then give an option to close it. So add to cart, as you can see, shopping cart is updated, and it gives you an icon which you can use to close this message. Exactly, shopping cart is updated, and then if you click on this close matte icon, what it's going to do is going to reset that save changes. Perfect. That's all it is in this form. So let me format this and save this one. Now let's go to the TypeScript file. Again, it may look a little complicated, but actually is easier than what you think. So let's go to the product.component.ts. First thing is, we need to import the backend service. So I'm going to say import the backend service. Let me get rid of this one. Then let's put this in our constructor. Say constructor backend. If I can type this right. Backend service is of type backend service. Perfect. Next thing is, I'm going to define a couple of variables. So just like my previous tutorials, these are the variables I always used. Save changes, error message, data loading, and there's a query subscription private variable which subscribe to the observable. Okay. Now right now it doesn't, profile URL is an observable. It doesn't understand what observable is. So let me import the observable as well. So import observable from our RxJS. So okay, that will take care of this error. Okay. Next thing is, let's go work on this get filtered data. Okay. So let me go back and I just want to avoid any surprises. So if you remember from my last tutorial where I've been doing the set product, where did it go? Set product.component.ts, and I told you guys that I once I write that function, I intend to use the same concept over and over and over again. So what this is doing actually is going to the server and getting all the product details. That's exactly what it's doing. So I copied this entire function what I wrote earlier in my last tutorial, and I'm pasting it here. Beautiful. All is going to do get filter data, get that data, pass the filters, go to the server, and get this data. Okay. Now here, because I don't have a data table here, I don't need all of these things. Okay. So, but before I do that, as you can see, members, it doesn't understand what members is. So again, member is again an observable where I'm planning to capture all the data. So whatever the data I get from the server, I'm going to put this into the members. Now let's go back to our product.component.html. If you remember, that's how I'm showing the listing. I'm saying let item of members, and then this is the member which is coming from the server. Okay. Now it has list of all the product. Now I don't need all of this data sourcing, data source, because this is not a MAC table. So let me get rid of this one. Beautiful. So that's pretty much it. Get filter data. Now let's go to product.component.html. So we took care of this function. Next thing is show details. And there's one more function, I think, get data. So what's going to happen the first time when your user sees that, this is the get filter data you're calling when you're searching something. So first time when this page is loaded, you have to show all the product. So it's going to be get data. So let's go to this one, product.component.ts. I'm going to again same function, copy paste the entire thing here, and I'm going to initialize it at this dot get data. Okay, let me copy paste this same thing, and I'm going to change the name, and this time it's going to be say this get data. Okay, for some reason it doesn't like it. Okay, we'll fix it. Now here it doesn't need any filters, and I'm going to change the function to get products. Okay, perfect. Because the difference between get products and get filter products is filter, it respects a parameter. So suppose you want to filter that, you want to you are searching for a specific product, so you pass the values. That's the only difference. Okay. So next thing is why it's giving me error. Okay, we'll handle this. Okay, 1 minute. So let's go. I want to create one more function called get pic. So again, the picture doesn't show up. I'm intentionally not showing the picture because my database is Firebase, and I have to pay for each clicks, and sometimes they charge heavily for the images. So I'm going to be very picky and only show the pictures when user clicks on this one. Okay. So let's say get pic, and for example just return say this profile URL equals to blank. And again the profile URL is let's go to the product.component.html. And you will see the profile URL is, see, this is the image. Okay, actually it doesn't need to be async, but I'll fix this one. Okay, so because right now I'm hard coding. Okay, it's not an asynchronous value. So again it doesn't understand what profile URL is. So let's go declare it. It's an observable, and it's complaining about that you cannot have define a string to an observable. Later on it will be an observable, but for now let's just do one thing, comment this out, and let's just say profile URL equals to a string. Perfect. Okay, now next thing is, okay, now I understand why it was giving me error. See, this dot get data, and actually get data is expecting some parameters here. I was not passing it here, saying what, expected argument, but didn't get any. So let me get rid of this one. This will take care of this error. Perfect. Okay, so now let's go start working on the show details one. So show details again. So show details, what is going to do? If I click on this any item here, is going to call this show details. But at the same time, please pay attention. I'm passing this value item here. Okay, so if I click on this item, is going to call that function show details, but I'm passing that item parameter to this. Okay, let's go this one. So item here again, I'm just saying counter equals to 0. My dog data again. I will let me just define those things. Counter and my dog data, and my dog data is like, is actually the item you are passing. Okay, and then same thing. I'm just here is one little different thing. As in the very beginning when I started this tutorial, I talked about behavior transaction. Now, if you're in simple websites, if I'm clicking on this one, okay, I like this product, but if you look at the Amazon or Facebook or Alibaba, they capture each and every click. So if I click on this one, that means I'm interested seeing in details. Please do not let this go away. This is very useful information. So as you can see on this show details, the moment you click on anything, I'm capturing this. So let me create a function. It's called update shopping interest. So please capture as much information as you can about the user. So I'm going to create a function called update shopping interest, which is just going to store everything in a collection called interest. Okay. So, but rest of the other things are very simple. Okay. Now let me define counter and my dog data. Okay. Perfect. So that will take care of this error. So one last time again. So this function called update shopping interest. Let's go to the backend service. Okay, I think I had it somewhere. Okay, here you go. So update shopping interest. Again, right now it's a fake API, so I'm going to copy paste the things from the previous one. Okay, and I'm just going to pretend that okay, I was able to write it. That's it. Update shopping interest. But again, my intention is to capture this information and write it to the server. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's talk about this is the show details. Same thing, if you're searching some things, I think you should capture that information. It doesn't hurt, like you can it's just as simple as create a function and create a new collection, store that information. And once we'll code the backend service, I'll show you how you can capture which user has which user has searched for has shown interest in what product. Okay, next thing is so now we need to work on these two functions called add to cart. I think I'm in the wrong file here. Okay, yeah, these add to cart and count product, count products. So count product function and add to cart. So these are the last two items here. Let me take care of these things. So count product is, again, it takes a filter. If filter is equals to add, it's going to add 1, and if it is not, then it's going to decrease 1. But it's being very careful because product cannot be, number of items in your cart cannot be negative. So if the counter is equals to greater than 0, then only is going to put a -1. So the counter will stop decreasing after 0. That means it will never go negative. Okay. Okay. Now let me last function, add to cart. Simple things, very similar to show details. So add to cart. The moment you click on the add to cart, is going to call that function called update shopping cart. And then just create a new collection where is going to write that okay, this guy has added that let me copy paste and just say update shopping cart. So again, very useful information. So try to if the user is clicking on a product, capture that information. If user is searching for something, capture that information. If the user just even accidentally click on the cart, that means he is interested in your product. So capture that information as well. Just storing the orders is not enough. You have to capture all the behavior transaction. So that's exactly what it is doing. Okay, add to cart. I think that's pretty much it. Let me. So now after I recompile, I see most of the errors are gone, but I still have a couple of problems in my app. So let's go quickly fix that. First thing is. First problem is this async. So problem is, again, it's a dummy. The problem is not the right now I'm hard coding the value and the members is just a string. So this is not working. But again, I don't want to get rid of this code. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment this out. And once I connect to the real database, I'll come back and uncomment this one. So for now, let's just go with this one and get rid of this async function here. So no. Perfect, and let me get rid of this async function here. So hopefully that will get rid of this problem. Okay, now let's go to the product. Second problem I have here is if I go back and compile, this is not going to work. The other problem I need to fix is these functions here. I copy pasted and this dot then is not working. So instead of this one, I think I should be using the functions I used in get filtered data, which is actually the subscription. Subscribe to that one. So dot then the promise based functionality, the promise based function is not working. So let me quickly fix that. So there are two things, add to cart and show details, where I'm using promises. So let's go fix this one. I'm going to copy paste this entire code here, subscribe, that subscribe portion like this one, and I'm going to copy paste here. Okay, and then actually let me get rid of this, get rid of all that members and data loading, and I need to copy this counter and save changes, paste it here. Perfect. And then I need to copy this update shopping cart, and I need cart data. Perfect. Now I think I can get rid of this one, so it looks a lot better. Okay, now let's do the same thing to this function called show details. Instead of promise based, I want to make it like a subscription based. Okay, same thing. So here okay, I'm going to copy paste this thing here. Now replace this shopping interest with this. Instead of card, I should have interest, and then now I can get rid of this block. Perfect. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so hopefully one last thing. Now I don't have a method to how do I browse to that product, so I forgot to do this thing. So let's go quickly add an icon to the header.component.html. So before the account box, I'm going to create a spacer here. Then I'm going to put copy paste this thing, that icon here, but I'm going to put a shop icon here, and then I'm going to route this to product. I think that's pretty much it. So what I did, I just included an extra icon shop. So now let's go back and see our code. As you can see, this is the icon I was talking about. You can choose any other icon you want. So this is actually, this icon will take you to the user shopping cart, but this icon will take you to the product page. So now if I click on this one, it goes to the product. As you can see, very nice. It's showing the product name and the description. And if I click on this one, immediately it goes and it says, okay, it's going to the product detail. Okay, I need to fix, okay. Oh, I need to fix this function as well. Okay, never mind. So add to cart. This function isn't working. Okay, no. Okay, now it's working. Shopping cart is updated. Actually, it's not actually. In reality, is not doing anything. But that's the whole purpose. So and it's showing a blank image. So that's pretty much good. That's good. So I think this page is working. In the next part, we are going to work on the rest of the pages, but it's going to be very, very easy. The hard part is over. All the rest of the pages like orders and cards and everything else is going to be copy paste, because we have already worked on the set products page, and everything else is a like cards and orders and user is a little bit different. But what is a card? Card is actually a collection of products. So same thing. Card, the only difference between card and product, card will have two extra fields, user ID and the quantity. That's it. Order will have same thing, user ID and the quantity. Otherwise it's going to be copy paste. So in the next section, I'm going to copy paste I'm going to work on this next pages, and you will see it's going to be very, very quick. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue with the other pages. So let's go back to the set product component.ts. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the entire thing and paste it at cards, because cards are no different than products, and same thing I'm going to do with the orders. As I said, the only difference is cards will have user ID and the quantity. Otherwise, it will have everything else. Okay, so let's go quickly implement that. One thing okay, so as you see, I'm at the products result page, but there's no add button or cache button. So let me just quickly copy this. Let me fix that first. Let's go to the result mode. This is edit. This is result. This is just to, if I ever want to go back to my search page or something like it. No, here I'm going to say search, and here say search mode. That's it. Okay, Okay, let me save this. Now let's go back to the set product.component.ts. One more change I want to do here, and I will so as you see, there are two different methods. I wrote the method, sorry, get data, get filtered data. These methods are there, set data, update data. Again, those methods are still, I may not even need that, but it's no harm to put it there, okay? One thing you might have noticed, whenever I write a backend service, I'm passing this collection name. So now it's time to understand why I decided to do that. Now, if I am to copy paste all of this code and make it a cards or order, then in the cards page I will pass the cards here, I will pass the orders here. Okay, so you will understand in 1 minute, but that's the reason why I choose to write the generic functions here. Okay, so let's quickly do that. I'm going to do set product.component.html, copy the entire thing. Let's go build our cards. So cards, okay, cards.component.html, as you can see it is blank, just go copy paste, simple. Now in the shopping cart, as I said, what's the difference between shopping cart and set product? It will have two extra values. So instead of category, I want to say user ID, okay, user ID, user ID, let me just copy paste, it will be easier, okay, and then one okay, let me add the same thing to the add form here, okay, but again, okay, now to the cards page, remember there will never be an add form, okay, because I do not want user to add to something, right? You know, you can't add cards from here. When the user click on a product, then only it will get to the card, so it doesn't even make sense to include this add button here, okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, now the same thing here, there will be no add mode anywhere. So let's go quickly just delete that. Okay, even the edit, there will be no edit. Okay, but this is admin, so I will allow, you know, just give him a, you know, because it's admin, admin can update user's cards. Okay, so I'll just leave this as is. One last thing here, so I'm going to add one extra field here in the edit mode. Let's go copy paste this. So most of the, even for the admin, he is not allowed to do, you know, those kind of a thing. Um, you know, not supposed to add the user cart and orders, but you know, just is admin. That's okay. Perfect. And I will say user ID. Okay. And again, one more thing. So this person in the cart, it will have one extra field, which is going to be quantity. Okay. So let's put this quantity over there. QTY, copy, paste, paste. That's it. So now this page is done. One last thing I'm going to do, wherever, because I'm not going to have an add button anywhere here, so I'm going to get rid of this add. Simple. Okay, that's it. Save this page. Now it's not going to work because I also need to work on my admin card.ts. Now let's go to set product.component.ts. Okay, copy the entire thing. Let's go to admin cards.component.ts here. I'm not going to blindly replace it for now, and I'll show you why. Because I need these pieces here. So I'm going to copy paste this here. Okay, and my admin cards component, this is just replace it like this. Now I think it's safe to get rid of all of these things. Yep, it is. Okay, perfect. So this is how it is to create other pages. Okay, now let's you know, let me show you one thing. Now here, instead of the displayed column, I also want to include the let's, you know, get rid of this category or subcategory, and let's put user ID there. Okay, user ID, and So that's the intention, in the results page it will show you the user ID. I'm just going to leave it this as is, because I know I have to go modify my backend function as well. So let's not do that. Second thing, I want to just pay attention to this one. One option is I can go and write new functions for this. So I have to write get products, so it will have get cards, get filter cards, shopping carts, okay, and then get one cart doc, get one product doc, okay. Now I have to go and rewrite all of those functions. Now imagine you not imagine, like we have to do it for orders page as well. So you will again end up writing same functions for orders. So, and then you have to repeat the same thing for the user menus. So you're writing 4 different functions for one page, and there are 3 different pages. 12 to 12 times 2 is 24. You will end up writing 24 different functions. But actually, instead of that, why not just use the generic functions and just pass the column name here? So what I mean by this, instead of product here, let me do a find and replace everywhere. Okay, I think that's pretty much it here. All I want to do here, say, now this is the cart. See, that's it, done. Okay, now same thing is I'm going to copy paste the entire thing in the orders. Same thing, orders, and here instead of cart, there's one more place. No, that's it. I believe I'm going to write orders. Beautiful. See, that's how quickly I worked on this function. So my cart is ready, admin order is ready, and admin users I'm going to work in a minute. Okay, I mean users is the same thing. The only difference is user will have different fields. That's the only difference. So in cart and orders, I have category, user ID, subcategory, name, price, ID. But in the function, the users functions, that means admin wants to see all the users who are actually using their page. So let's do it quickly. Okay, I think it makes sense. The only difference is this field will be changed, and the forms will be the edit form will be changed. Otherwise, it's the same copy paste. Okay, same rules apply everywhere. Okay, the backend function, I'm going to use generic functions. The only difference is I'm going to use the different column name here. Okay, what I'm going to do, instead of wasting your time, I'm going to replace admin cards, orders, users. Okay, and that the same thing I'm going to do it for here for users. Okay, so user had cards, orders, products is different. So because you see the only difference between user and admin is, so I'm going to copy paste entirely the same thing. Okay, the only difference is, let me show you how. Here I'm going to get rid of that edit and delete button, so the user will be able to see their products, okay, but they will not be able to delete it. I'm going to get rid of the delete function, and I'm going to get rid of the edit. So just like what I did for admin, he is not allowed to add anything. The user will not be allowed to add anything, edit anything, delete anything. User will only see. Okay, so I'm only going to display the result page, and once he clicks on this one, it shows the result. That's it. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to do anything. So let me make those changes, and then I will take a minute and I'll walk you through that. But I just want to, these are repeating tasks, copy paste, so I don't want to waste your time. Let me fix all these things, and I will come back and show you how to work on the last 2 pages. That is the login page, and the last page is I believe login page, and there's one more page left where user is like they update their own credentials, like username, ID, password, those kind of a thing. Okay, so stay tuned. I'll be back. And now I'm finished copy pasting all the other pages. But one change, earlier I said the user pages, user will not be able to update their orders, things like that. But I haven't, like, when I copy pasting, I'm allowing users to update their cards, but not the products names and etc. The user will be able to delete their cart items, and user will be able to update the quantity on the cart items. Same thing on the orders. I think users should be able to see their orders but do not make any corrections. So again, totally up to you. These are your HTML pages, so please update it as as per your business requirement. So I'm going to work on the last two pages. Let's start working with the login page and the settings page. So the login page is going to look like this. A very simple form. It is the email and password, so user can easily use the email and ID or password to log in, or they can use in like login with Facebook or login with Google. So let's start working on this one. So first thing is, like the other pages, what I'm going to do, get rid of this text. I'm going to put a header. So header, same thing. It's a sticky header. Page title equals to sign in, and I'm going to put this icon title equals to account circle. Okay. Next thing is I'm going to include a mat card. Now inside this mat card, I'm going to put a div. Now, if the user is already logged in, what I'm doing here, then don't show this form, okay? Like what I'm doing here, if once the user is authenticated, user is already logged in, do not show that form. That's exactly what I'm doing. And instead show a button. It should say continue shopping, and that button, if your user clicks on it, it takes the users to the product page. That's it, okay? Now let's create an ng template for the show shopping card, okay? Well, I shouldn't have named it show shopping, but actually it's a show login page, okay? Sorry about the typo, I'll fix it. So what it's doing is like, if the user is logged in, just show the login page. So in the login page, I'm going to create a mat card content. Okay, again in the mat card content, I'm just going to copy paste this form. I'm not going to create this form. So let's go back to this form. In this form, it's a very simple form. There is a submit login button, email ID, password, that's it. So as you can see, there's an action button and data loading, broken network. These are the simple things. Here actually the form starts. It says there's a submit button and there is an email ID and there's a password and there are a couple of errors. Very standard form. So again, I'm going to include the link to my GitHub repository, so you can understand, like typing the entire thing is going to be a little tedious. So you can always download the copy of this entire code. Okay. Next thing is, now this form data is done. Now I want to include the two different icons. It's going to be here. I'm giving users three different options to log in. One is they can use their email ID and password. Other is they can use their Facebook or Google. Again, everything will be set up at the Firebase level. And I'll, once I cover the database side, that's my next tutorial. Just after finishing this one, you will understand how we can implement the social authentication. Okay. Now for now, I just want to include, as you can see, these are the material chips. So again, go to material.angular.io and these are the chips. It gives a very nice look and feel to your app. So that's why I included that. Okay, so let's go include another mat card component. Let me get rid of this one. Okay, now inside this mat card component, I'm going to include this mat chip list. Now there are two chips. One is for Facebook, other is for Google. And as you can see, they are calling one function login and login. If you notice, I'm using only one function for the entire thing, login, and I'm passing this as a parameter. So suppose user logs in with a Facebook, so parameter is Facebook. If the user logs in with Google, the parameter is Google. That's how I will know what method user is using. And if the user is using the login method from the form, so I'm saying email, but I'm also passing the form data.value. So let's go and let me save this thing. Okay, and let's go work on our login component.ts. So as you can see, I had this couple of things here. User logged in. Let's just give it a dummy value here. Just say, look, user login is a boolean is equal to true. Or maybe what, on ng on init, I say this dot user logged in equals to true. So then when the maybe false. Sorry, if the user is logged in, is not going to show this form. Is going to show that. Okay, so the one last page is a user page. So in this page, user will be able to update their name, email, password, or whatever, those kind of very simple things. So again, very simple. I'm just going to do the copy paste. Okay, so in this form, as you can see, okay, yeah, in this form, as you can see, it's a very simple form. Same thing. I'm just allowing name, user, email, password. Again, it's up to you. If you want to include more fields, very simple, but basically it looks like very simple like email form. And the only change is just like the other pages, I'm showing an ng template where it's saying if the user clicks on the say update button, is going to show this card that your update data is updated. That's it. And that, you can click on the close button. That's the only difference. So again, I'm going to include this sorry, I have to do a couple of more things on the user component.ts. So I'm going to include a fake method, say on submit. So this is when the user clicks on the submit. I'm going to create one more thing, say logout button, and I am going to say this dot get user. So first the time the user is loaded, it's going to get the data from the server. Logout is logout, and on submit is when the user updates their up their settings. That's it. So very simple things. So now good thing is my HTML portion is done. All my pages are done. Next step is the big thing. Now we will start working on our database. So once we start connecting to the database, it will make a lot more sense. Then we'll get a real feeling like, okay, then once you see the things in action, once the things start working, you should be able to get more interest in this.